live and direct from the Golden State. It's intelligent talk media, the Denice Gary Show. Now, here's Denice Gary.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Denice Gary Show. It's good to be with you on a Friday. Thank you for tuning in. I just so appreciate having an opportunity to bring to you possibly some fresh analysis that you're not going to get anyplace else. And I want to start today with something that all the media people are talking about on radio and television, and that is the president's message to the Mexican government about tariffs that will escalate each and every month. So this month on June 10th, the president tweeted out, the United States will impose a 5% tariff on all goods coming into our country from Mexico until such time as illegal migrants coming through Mexico and into our country stop. The tariff will gradually increase until the illegal immigration problem is remedied. Now, before we go to Sarah Sanders, the White House spokesperson, I want to just share with all of you maybe a perspective that you haven't heard before. So there's reports that, for example, from an ICE agent, that migrants are trading children to get a discount from coyotes. I want you to hear this for just a moment, because this is part of the problem that then the United States has to fix. So if you're a Democrat listening to the Denice Gary Show, or an independent, or even a Republican that thinks the president is being racist, I'd like you to just hear me out on today's show, listen to the facts, and then maybe consider that the fact that the president has also pointed out, and this was just this was a press release yesterday that says, quote, as everyone knows, the United States of America has been invaded by hundreds of thousands of people. That's not an exaggeration by any stretch of the imagination. We just had 1,000 people apprehended in Texas, on the Texas-Mexico border. So that was just the other day, just 1,000 people. So hundreds of thousands, and this is, by the way, a statement from the president. So the president's statement is not an exaggeration. Hundreds of thousands of people coming through Mexico and entering our country illegally. This sustained influx of illegal aliens has profound consequences on every aspect of our national life. Overwhelming our schools. I've seen that as an educator. Overcrowding our hospitals. I saw that 20 years ago when I had to have major surgery and I had to wait 24 hours, even though I was told that I might die in that period of time because blood clots were separating from this area of my body and floating around, which could at any point in time intersect the blood or prevent the blood from reaching my heart. And that would lead to a heart attack. And I was told to lie still, and I was in horrific pain, and on the story goes. But illegal people were lined up in the hospital, in the corridors, all over that woman's hospital in Los Angeles. This was while I was going to grad school. And I couldn't, as a citizen, couldn't get into that public hospital and get the emergency surgery I needed in a timely manner. Overcrowding our hospitals, draining our welfare system. That's right, illegals do get on welfare all the time. And causing untold amounts of crime. So I was looking at how long, speaking to the issue of overwhelming untold amounts of crime, talks about gang members, smugglers, human traffickers, illegal drugs, and narcotics of all kinds are pouring across the southern border. So think about it. We've got our gangs, are human smugglers. We've got human traffickers that are involved in the slave trade. How many people are involved in the slave trade in the 21st century? How many people are slaves today? They estimate between 21 to 46 million. That's a lot of people that have been kidnapped and are part of somebody's human trafficking ring or part of a criminal network's human trafficking ring. It's horrific. That many people's lives have been disrupted because somehow some criminal network has picked them up and is selling them into bondage, whether it's for labor or for sex. Anyway, so human traffickers, illegal drugs and narcotics, and they're coming into our communities, and thousands of innocent lives are taken every year in this country as a result of this lawless chaos. So if you're hating Trump right now and you're listening to this broadcast, I'd like for you to consider a couple things. First of all, in this one report I was reading from last year, talking about the tens of thousands of people coming here illegally, it said that, for example, a 7,000 person caravan of migrants had come up from Honduras. Honduras is a country that has the highest murder rate in the entire world. Think about that. 7,000 came up in a day, and Honduras has the highest murder rate in the world. That's not our fault that Honduras has the highest murder rate in the world. That's the government of Honduras's fault for not taking care of protecting the innocents against domestic violence in Honduras. See, our Constitution here in the United States requires our president, this is Section 4 of the Constitution, Section 4, Article 2, I believe it is. No, it's not. It's in Article 4, Section 4. I apologize. Article 4, Section 4 of the Constitution reads, "The United States shall guarantee to every state in the Union not only a republican form of government, but shall protect each of the states and shall protect each of them against invasion." A 7,000, an army of people coming in could be a 7,000 in number. 7,000 people coming into the country at one point from Honduras is an invasion. And Article 4, Section 4 of the U.S. Constitution says that the federal government, and who's in charge of the federal government? The chief executive. Article 2, the President of the United States. He's the chief executive. He's responsible for enforcing the law. That's his job. If you read the Constitution, Article 1 is the legislative branch. They make the laws. Article 2 is the executive branch. The president and his team is responsible for enforcing the law. And Article 3, the judicial branch. Section 4, talking about the states, and it says that the executive is responsible for protecting the states against violence, both domestic and foreign. So instead of hating Trump, think about this. Think about the fact that here's a man that signed up to be the chief executive of the United States, and he's read the Constitution, and I'm sure he hears from his CIA director and his FBI director and his national security advisor. He gets it. He gets it. The message from everyone under him is, you've got to protect this country. That's your responsibility, to protect this country from invasion and from violence. Well, if you've got a 7,000 man caravan coming through, and Honduras has the world's highest murder rate. It says here, the country is home, Honduras is home to 8.25 million people, which has a reported 90.4 murders. 90 murders for every 1,000 residents. That's according to the United Nations Office on Drugs and Crime. We're not making this up. So I thought to myself, the president, he understands that by the way, his oath of office, the oath of office that the president takes before becoming the president or officially executing his job as the president, says he has to swear on the Bible that he will, quote, faithfully execute the office of President of the United States and preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the United States. And Article 4, Section 4 says he's supposed to protect the people of the states from violence, both foreign and domestic. So that's his role. He gets it. In a press release, a statement that came out yesterday on immigration, he's saying our schools, our hospitals, our welfare system, all of it's overwhelmed, plus the untold amounts of crime. So, I'm thinking about that. I'm thinking about terrorists coming through, and I'm thinking about those gangs, and I'm thinking about these coyotes and human traffickers, which leads me to this report that just came out, that again, the president, as a human being, has to feel responsible for the fact that we have thousands of children that are being abandoned, have been rented out by their irresponsible parents, who I believe should be held accountable, possibly arrested for child endangerment. Let me share this report. So coyotes right now are giving discounts. Can you believe it? Discounts to migrant parents to lend their children to other migrants at the border. So basically they're given money. So it says the child, the real parent, and an unrelated adult client, and then the smuggler sometimes make the trip together. Sometimes the parent doesn't even come. And according to the Texas Department of Public Safety's Intelligence and Counterterrorism Division, quote, only at the border is the child and a bogus birth certificate given over to a paying migrant. So the parents can get up to $7,000 from this migrant who pays the coyote, who pays the parent. The Texas Department of Public Safety's Intelligence and Counterterrorism Division reports, I have current examples where the unrelated adult male has never met the child until the transportation to the U.S. began. He says the child trading is made profitable by the fact that Congress has refused to fix the 2015 Flores catch and release loophole, so the policy bars the detention of adults for more than 20 days, so the migrant and the cartel-tied coyote have an incentive to bring and share many children, so every migrant can get a child and walk through the border via the Flores loophole. So the Democrats know this. So I hope that you'll never vote for a Democrat again, because the Democrat legislators in the House have remained totally silent. Only the Republicans are talking about this. The Democratic legislators are remaining silent about the child training and loopholes. And the problem is, these packages, for example, a member of a drug cartel, a coyote, goes to the parent, sells them a package, gives them $7,000, and that's supposed to provide for their transportation, their food, doctor birth certificates and the child. But what we're seeing is, according to this report, that there are numerous, hundreds of abandoned child cases have come to the attention of federal agents. One little 3-year-old was found near McAllen, Texas, crying. He was all alone in a cornfield. And these parents, who should be charged with child endangerment and arrested, the only phone number that may possibly somehow provide a link to his parents is a phone number that was written on his shoe. My God, what if the child's shoe came off? You know, you've got a little 3-year-old all alone in a cornfield, hungry and dehydrated, and probably just afraid out of his mind. And you know, a lot of times these mothers, they get disconnected from this migrant, this adult male migrant, or an adult female migrant, and the coyote. They also get separated. So it says here, nearly 169,000 youths have surrendered at the border, and it's like, who knows this? And so I thought to myself, you know, we've got to take a break. When we get back, we're going to get to more of what the president said to Mexico and what the Mexican government, what Mexico's president said back to the president of the United States. It's incredible, the thinking, but I hope that you will share this broadcast out to everyone. I also want to share with you something that has come to my attention from the former DHS and ICE chief. Well, this is from, I believe, this is the former ICE acting director, Tom Holman. And I want you to hear from him. And I also want you to find out, when we come back from break, how long it takes from people coming up from South America, Central America, when they start at that border with Mexico's most southern border, when they start there at the border, how long does it take people to be transported or to walk, because many of them walk, all the way up to the border with whether it's Texas or California? I'm going to give you that information when we get back, but we've got to take a break, but we'll be right back.
I want to tell you about a place I love to go, Frugati's Italian Restaurant. Very few locations here provide seating outside in front of a fabulous water fountain with an atmosphere that is reminiscent to me of eating outdoors in Venice. This is real Italian food by real Italians. And what makes it even more so is owner Ralph Frugoletti, who nearly a quarter century ago brought a wood fire oven from Milan, Italy to make, like his mother, fresh homemade bread and pizzas. Moreover, Frugati's Restaurant offers you not only the very best in Southern Italian cooking, even importing the finest ingredients for authentic Italian food, including a fitness menu. After all, Ralph has represented the United States and Italy, competing in the Master Championship Games. He knows all the right food for good fitness, so check out the menu. After today's broadcast, run over to Frugati's Italian Restaurant and Catering at 600 Coffee Road here in Bakersfield. And after a Friday, Saturday, or Sunday service, stop into Frugati's for a great lunch. I'll see you there, and tell Mr. Ralph Frugoletti that Denice sent you. Salute. Buon appetito.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm so thrilled I've got the owner of Sculpt 365 Fitness here with me today, Craig Jansen, Navy veteran. Craig, tell the audience out there why everybody in town needs to come over here and join.
Well, Sculpt 365 is a 24-hour club, so we never close, unlike a lot of other clubs here in town. Additionally, our club is always super clean, and one of the things that you're going to find here is a different environment where we strive to give you a VIP experience here. So we want to get to know you, we want to know your story, we want to know about you and how we can help you succeed and meet all of your fitness goals.
Wonderful. Ladies and gentlemen, come on down to Sculpt 365 Fitness. You're located right here on Brim Hall. Tell us your other locations.
We have another location up in Tehachapi, And then our third location here in town is also located over on Chester and Columbus in the Food Mac Shopping Center.
Thank you so much, Craig. You have a wonderful day.
You too. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Denice Gary Show. I have to say, for our Navy veteran, Craig Jansen, this is the last day of his May special. Now, I'm not saying he might not extend it into June. He may very well. But what I know as of this moment is that his May special was to provide you a special package where it's only $5 to sign up at Sculpt 365. And it's for the 1 year pricing, it's $30 a month, but the first 5 months are half off. Okay, so we're talking $15 a month. For the 2 year pricing, it's $27 a month. And for the first 5 months, it's half off. You really need to go and support. Let's support our veterans. Okay, getting back to our conversation today, our talk about illegal immigration. And again, part of the president fulfilling his responsibility is to uphold the Constitution. The Congress has already passed a law advising the nation and the executive branch how many people are supposed to enter into the country a year, how many people are allowed to immigrate into the country, so that our schools and hospitals and are not overwhelmed, so our welfare system is not maxed out, so our roads and freeways aren't crowded to the point where we can't get from point A to point B, which is what I'm experiencing all the time. Traffic has become as worsened here in the state of California, and we can thank illegal immigrants for that, because it's created situations in which we have to spend more and more money to widen our roads and freeways. It's ridiculous. Maybe they could go up to Alaska. Did you know, ladies and gentlemen, that Alaska has one member in the House of Representatives? Even though Alaska geographically is much larger than the state of California, but because California has so many people living here in the state of California, I believe we have 53 or more members in the House of Representatives. 53 or more members in the House of Representatives, elected representatives from our state. Even though Alaska is so much larger, they only have one. Maybe we could get some of these people from California to go to Alaska. Well, anyway, so I want to share this. So, the president said to Mexico in a tweet today, Mexico has taken advantage of the United States for decades. He's absolutely right about that. Did you know we have a trade deficit with Mexico? Yeah, we have a trade deficit. So Mexico is able to unload here in the United States, and we've got a trade deficit. And they dump here in California and in the United States. That's unfair. So they've taken advantage of us in terms of us wanting to help them and their prosperity down there, but that doesn't seem to matter. And because of the Democrats, our immigration laws are bad. Mexico makes a fortune from the U.S., have for decades. They can easily fix the problem. Time for them to finally do what must be done. The White House spokesperson, Sarah Sanders, said this. Would you play the clip from Sarah Sanders? Thank you.
Year. That now tops the total number of apprehensions in 2018. Border Patrol agents, as far as arrests, Tom, more than 1,100 people per day on average. These are some alarming numbers.
Look, I'll say this. I've done this for 34 years. I started in Border Patrol in 1984. This is the worst I've ever seen it. Now, has there been years where they arrested more than 1 million? Yeah, there has been years where they arrested more than 1 million, a decade ago, 2 decades ago. But we got to remember, 95% of those arrests were Mexican nationals that were processed and removed within an hour. When I was a Border Patrol agent, I caught the same alien 3 or 4 times in one shift. So that million wasn't really 1 million. It was probably 500,000 just entered multiple times. But this, by far, is the worst I've ever seen it, because this 1 million people They're coming and they're not going home because they're taking advantage of the asylum laws. They can take years to get them removed. This is a crisis that I've never seen before at this level.
Meanwhile, as you know, this is a hot political
Ladies
issue.
and gentlemen, so Sarah Sanders is making it clear that the president is just completely frustrated, and he's tweeted out this message to Mexico. Do you know what the Mexican president came out and said? He said, quote, "With all due respect, although you have the right to express America first, it is a fallacy." Well, I'm sorry, President of Mexico. It's not a fallacy. If this president wants to put America first, we certainly would expect you to put Mexico first for you and your people, just as we would expect all those Central American countries and South American countries, to put their national interests first. There's nothing racist or inappropriate about putting one's national interests first. How many families do you know across America or in any other country around the world that doesn't put their family first? Who doesn't feed their family first? Who doesn't make sure their family has sufficient clothing before then they donate other clothing to people who may be in need, or food, to donate food to people that may be in need? But don't you generally see not just nation states, but right down to the very local level of the family unit in communities around the country and across the world? People take care of their family, their community, their state, and their nation. There's nothing racist. And again, I ask you to share this broadcast out. I'd like people to think about that. Why are Democrats constantly echoing everywhere? I think about the ladies on The View. I think about the media and people in the schools and the students that sit in my classrooms thinking the president's racist. And I'm thinking to myself, why is he a racist? Because he says America first. Who doesn't? What leader of any country wouldn't put their national interests first? I don't know. I don't know of any leader who would do that, because God knows if they are elected leaders, they wouldn't get elected again. I'm sure that the Prime Minister of Canada would never get elected again if every time he made a decision, he was putting America first and not his own country. I just can't imagine that. I just don't know of any example anywhere on the globe where especially leaders that are elected would put another country first above their own nation's interests. So what's wrong with the president saying that? He's mandated by the Constitution of the United States. So we've got some guy, a joker down there as president of Mexico, saying it's a fallacy to say America first, because this is what the president of Mexico said. Because, quote, until the end of times, which is not grammatically correct. He should have said until the end of time. But anyway, he said, quote, because until the end of times, even beyond national borders, justice and universal fraternity will prevail. Well, that's true. We certainly hope. Well, it's not true, because I know of a lot of countries where justice and universal fraternity are not prevailing at all. I'm thinking about the Gaza-Israel border, where you've got Palestinians that are building tunnels with the cement that Israel gives them and sending terrorists through those underground tunnel networks into Israel to slit the throats of children in their bed. I mean, we have numerous examples of that. Well, so justice and university fraternity doesn't necessarily prevail, but absolutely he's right to say that until the end of time, even beyond national borders, we can certainly hope that justice and universal fraternity will prevail. But that doesn't mean that you don't have to obey the law. I guess this would be my question to that president. He doesn't seem too bright. I guess my question to him would be a logical one. Sure, let's all, love one another. I have no problem with that. I donate to charitable groups, and I certainly have donated to children and children's causes in Mexico. But that doesn't mean that I don't believe that people should obey the law, the laws here in the United States. And when Congress passes a law identifying how many people can come into the country legally every year, I don't think that that means that part of my charity and part of our country's charity to a place like Mexico needs to be that they can just come across the border illegally and break our laws and get involved with all kinds of fraudulent activities. I mean, how many illegal aliens are involved in voter fraud? How many illegal aliens have been involved in identity fraud? I mean, I know as a fact, as a teacher, as an educator here in Kern County, I've had people who I know were illegal that changed their name from year to year while they were in school. I guess depending on whose identity they were using that year or whose social security number they were using. And I was told, we could not report that. We could not report it to an ICE agent. So that's the Kern High School District. So anyway, and the president of Mexico added that Mexico wanted to avoid a confrontation with the U.S. on the issue of Central American migrants coming through Mexico to the U.S. And get this, this is a total lie. So the president of Mexico tells our president, when he says to them, look, you've taken advantage of the United States for decades. The Dems won't pass some decent immigration laws and work with Republicans. Mexico's making a fortune, and that's true too from another perspective. And that perspective is this: it is that Mexicans and other illegals that come here, they send their money out of the United States to extended family members or maybe immediate family members that are living in other countries. And it's not kept here in the United States. The money leaves the country. I think the president, or I think Congress, not the president, but Congress that passes laws, should put a limit on how much money leaves the country from these people that come up here to profit on our free market economy and then send the money out of the country. Other countries do that. So anyway, this joker from the president of Mexico says that that he's doing as much as possible to stem the flow without violating human rights. Well, let me tell you how long. Put up that map, please, showing people coming up from the southern border. So from the border with Guatemala and Mexico, it's 1,125 miles by foot to McAllen, Texas. If people walk 3 miles an hour, okay, if people walk 3 miles an hour, that's 375 hours, or about 38 days. So it takes over a month. So is the president of Mexico, I mean, does he really think we're a bunch of idiots here in America? That we're going to swallow this absurdity that Mexico is doing, quote unquote, as much as possible to stem the flow without violating human rights? Mexico's got a month and a half to apprehend people and children that are being used by human traffickers and coyotes alike. He has a month and a half before they get to the border with Texas. Now, let's look at California. To reach California, migrants have to travel 2,500 miles. So it's a longer trek to get to California across West Mexico. It takes almost 3 months on foot. And that's if people are walking 10 hours each and every day. So if somebody's walking 10 hours a day for 3 months, they can get to California. So Mexico's going to tell us that in 3 months, their police, their immigration patrol cannot apprehend people and grant them political asylum right there in Mexico, because under international law, that's what's supposed to happen. When somebody comes up from South America or Central America, the very next country they enter, that is the country upon which they are supposed to apply for asylum. They're not supposed to wait until they've walked, until 3 months later when they've come from southern Mexico to northern Mexico and gotten to California. They're not supposed to then apply for asylum here in the United States of America. That's crazy. That's absolutely crazy. And to think that the Mexican president, but you know, the Democrats are buying it, and I could just see Nancy Pelosi standing in front of a microphone this afternoon and saying, those poor people, and how racist and terrible this president is, and that he needs an intervention from members of his family or from the Republican. The president doesn't need an intervention. This president has a duty and responsibility to the American people to uphold the laws of the United States. He also has a responsibility to make recommendations to Congress on laws that are needed to protect and defend the laws of this country. And again, he swore an oath to uphold the Constitution. The Constitution already tells us that Congress has passed a law telling us how many people can come here legally every year. That means everybody else can maybe get a political asylum or have refugee status in another country, doesn't entitle them to come up here illegally, and that doesn't make anybody a racist. That's just, if you look objectively at the facts, that just means that the taxpayer has had their taxes raised to cover welfare expenses, disability. I've known illegals that are on disability. We pay, you know, taxpayers pay for those disability benefits, welfare benefits, public hospital expenses. We have public hospitals all up and down the state of California. Taxes pay for that. Taxes pay for our policemen, our fire departments, our sheriff's departments, up and down the state and across the country. Our taxes will continue to go up when we have, I just read this report, where did it go? Well, 1,000 migrants in a day. I just saw it. Well, I can't find it now, but we've got thousands of people coming up literally on a daily basis. And I think it's important when, for example, when I think it's important to push back on these Dems. Representative Ilhan Omar from Minnesota, she sent out a tweet. She says, a merit-based immigration policy is fueled by racism toward the Latino community. Really? Our immigration policy shouldn't be based on discrimination, fear, or bigotry. We should welcome immigrants to our country and offer a simple pathway to citizenship. So this is what we say, and with this I've got to go. We've got to cut we've got to wrap things up. But a merit-based immigration policy is not fueled by racism toward the Latino community. There are Latinos who would actually fit a merit-based immigration policy. And I would suggest to you that Ms. Omar Elon, Representative Elon, is racist for suggesting that. And to say that our immigration policy should welcome immigrants to our country? What do you think we're doing every year when we welcome about 1 million people here legally? What do you call that? I call that welcoming immigrants, because we welcome people from all over the world each and every year who are coming here legally that we can afford to begin to assimilate into the country. Ladies and gentlemen, we've got to take a quick commercial break. We'll be right back after this.
President Trump has correctly stated that economic security is national security, and in the Tehachapi Mountains of Kern County resides a United States defense contractor, Denice Products. Here is the Silicon Valley of the aerospace industry, right here in East Kern. Denice Products is a forward-leaning manufacturer and distributor of hardware sold to major defense and aerospace companies. We're talking about Boeing, Lockheed Martin, United Technologies, Northrop Grumman, Raytheon General Electric, and on the list goes, as well as to every United States ally worldwide, including Israel, America's most important strategic ally in the Middle East. And for everything that flies, Denice Products is providing the parts. And with me today is the president of Denice Products, Scott Baker. Hi, Scott.
How you doing?
Scott, tell us why you believe this corner of Kern County is the hub of the aerospace industry.
Well, this portion of Southern California here out in the Antelope Valley, it contains, some of the most cutting-edge technology going on in aviation today. We have some of the UCAS programs with unmanned technologies going on. We have Edwards Air Force Base out here who's doing continual testing in their area. We have the Naval Weapons Station up there at China Lake doing some fantastic cutting-edge stuff, cruise missile technology, and those things are going on. We have Scale Composites locally doing a lot of composite technology, which is new. We have SpaceX, which is a private one, putting a private entity putting things into space now. This area is the growth center for aviation's future, and this is the area I think that as a nation we need to be concentrating some of our effort and taking this technology. And as we all know, with the space program from Apollo years ago, out of these technologies, we the private sector are going to reap some of the benefits of that.
Thank you, Scott. Ladies and gentlemen, Scott Baker, president of Denice Products. Denice Products, located in the beautiful mountains of Tehachapi, California, in eastern Kern County, is home to some of the most innovative and specialized technologies in the world, including those at the U.S. Naval Air Warfare Center, Weapons Division at China Lake, Edwards Air Force Base, as well as Stratolaunch, launching satellites capable of delivering multiple orbits in a single flight to space. And it is Denice Products that has provided the manufactured devices, and the president, Scott Baker of Denice Products, Marine Corps veteran, reactivated on 9/11 to monitor threats to the homeland, is carrying on a tradition of providing for the security of the United States by manufacturing every kind of fastener on any.
Ladies and gentlemen, here we are with Barb Reynolds Wallstrom today. She is the owner and operator of Tehachapi Court Services, serving the entire Kern County area. Welcome, Barb.
Thank you, Denise.
You've been at the top of your game in terms of legal matters for many, many years. And I want you to tell the audience today, what is the difference between a legal document assistant to pro per litigants as opposed to a paralegal? What's the difference?
A legal document assistant such as I has been involved with the legal work for many years, as a matter of fact, decades, and I feel quite competent and capable of helping people throughout Kern County for legal needs that they really need assistance with and can't afford an attorney.
Right.
So I'm here in Bakersfield 3 and 4 times a week. If people need me, they can call me. If they can't get to me, and why is that? Because people have to work during the day. The clients I serve are working people.
And you go to Shafter and Wasser, and you're there in Tehachapi?
I'll go there.
You're just everywhere.
I'm everywhere. And Denise, I'm not tied to a 9-to-5 environment.
Yeah.
I go where my clients need me at whatever hour. I love doing that, and they can call me. I will come to them. They can call me at whatever hour aside from 9 to 5 because people need answers and they need them quickly.
Barb Reynolds Wallstrom is so passionate about what she does. She loves it. She's been in the business for decades, and she's the gal you want to call. You help people handle their adoptions, right?
Adoptions,
and
bankruptcies, also divorces, unlawfully tainters, which are evictions, conservatorships, guardianships, living trusts. I pretty much run the gamut after 47 years.
So how do people reach you, Barb?
They can contact me at area code 661-805-3306.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I want you to call Tehachapi Court Services today. Talk to Barb. She can be reached at 661-805-3306. It's there on the screen. Give her a call. She will work with you hand in glove.
Right.
Hand in glove.
I walk every step of the way with my clients.
Excellent. She'll work with you and get the job done.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the broadcast. I want to say on behalf of Barb Reynolds Wallstrom, our advertiser, let's give her the business. Again, these advertisers advertise on this broadcast because the expectation is that the business will be there. And I really want to encourage all of you that are thinking about hiring an attorney to hire Barb, because Barb can help tremendously in doing a lot of the work, if not all of the work, to help you do what you need to get done to be a success. Attorneys are extremely expensive, and a lot of times there's paperwork and things like that have to be done. You're paying for every minute they're giving you advice, and it's thousands of dollars, very costly. So I encourage you to call Barb Reynolds Wallstrom at Tehachapi Court Services. Don't let that name Tehachapi Court Services throw you. She's all over the county, all over Kern County, and even has clients that she works with in Fresno and Los Angeles. So give her a call, 661 area code 805-3306. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I thought you had heard a clip in the last segment of Sarah Huckabee Sanders, the spokeswoman for the president. I wanted you to hear her reaction on behalf of the president, President Trump, after the real pushback by Democrats and even some Republicans and the president of Mexico. Let's listen to Sarah Sanders.
We're asking Mexico to enforce their own laws to help stop the people coming in from Central America. We've seen a massive influx of people coming from that region, and they have certainly the ability and the legal authority in which to deal with it, and we're simply asking them to do that.
This may surprise you. Over on Capitol Hill, a bit of pushback from Republicans.
Sorry about that, ladies and gentlemen. I interrupted the clip and said, "What is she saying?" I can't hear what's being said on the clips. So I believe this is the one where she's talking about just how absolutely frustrated the president is and has been. And that should really be, I believe, the sense that all Americans ought to feel, is a sense of frustration at a trade deficit in which Mexico makes a massive amount of money on trade with the United States. And of course, again, a trade deficit suggests that they're really dumping a lot here in the United States, unlike what the United States has available in terms of trade opportunities inside Mexico. So there's an imbalance there. There is inappropriate activity by the Mexican government and law enforcement. We have to respect each other's laws. And of course, it's incumbent upon the United States government to respect the laws of Mexico, just as it is Mexico's responsibility to respect the laws here in the United States, and that includes immigration laws. And for those of you that think that we, quote unquote, took California from Mexico or New Mexico or Arizona or Texas, we fought a war with Mexico that we won. And in addition to that, we actually purchased or spent millions that we gave to Mexico because they wanted the money. They wanted the money more than they did the land. And I know here in California, it needs to be understood by everyone that this is the United States of America. This is not Mexico North. And all countries, whomever they may be, have to respect each other's constitutional law and their national or federal laws. And that includes Mexico. And I hope that you will get behind the president. Again, he pointed out, where is it? I wanted to go back to his tweet, and I so appreciate the president's tweets because he makes his thoughts clear, and I love that kind of transparency. I don't know of anybody that is that transparent. So June 10th, 5% tariff on all goods from Mexico. Okay, so your avocados may go up. Car parts may go up. What else? Berries coming in from Mexico may go up. So ask your grocer to forget about importing fruit and car parts, or ask your local Pep Boys to, let's find parts that are produced right here in the United States. Let's find berries and avocados that are produced right here in the United States, or get them somewhere else. If you don't want to pay the tariff, if you don't want to pay higher, a little bit more money at the grocery store or supermarket, there's other ways we can handle it. But it's about time that the people of Mexico and Central America and South America and their governments respect the laws of the United States. Ladies and gentlemen, you have a wonderful and blessed weekend. This is Denice, signing off.
Thank you for listening to The Denice Gary Show. Intelligent talk media.